Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Affleck thinks Marvel's Kevin Feige is the greatest producer ever. Breaking news. Ben Affleck is going to appear as Daredevil in Spider-Man 3 now. Yep. The uproar.
The Devilverse is coming next.
Persists now.
Then we'll get Colin Farrell back, and we'll get Colin Farrell back.
Okay, well, let's see what Kevin Feige did not say. Let's see what Ben Affleck had to say. An interview with Hollywood Reporter, to which he said, Effing Kevin Feige is absolutely, you have to say, the greatest producer, most successful producer who ever lived. He's the only guy in the world who, if he told me, I know what the audience wants, this is what we're doing, I would believe him 100%. That fucker knows his audience like no producer ever. He's a genius. Kevin is like a ring man. He was really going here. God damn. Kevin is like a ringmaster at the circus. He knows exactly how much to wink at the audience, exactly when to pull at the heartstrings, exactly when to do the effects, how many jokes, what the sensibility. It sounds like you wanna switch universes, man. What the tone is because people didn't know to run away from the pajamas or embrace it or make it serious. Holy moly.
Yeah, those pajamas.
Moly.
Sleep naked, Ben Affleck.
Look, I don't think he's wrong. I think Kevin Feige perhaps is our greatest modern day producer that we have. I would say greatest. I don't think he's perfect. I don't think the MCU by any stretch is a perfect franchise. There's a couple of those movies that I know I'm not a big fan of. Let's face it, in terms of telling the most cohesive cinematic universe, in terms of churning out the big numbers, in terms of keeping audiences for the most part really satisfied. I know there's people already clicking away saying stuff like, but most of them are formulaic and they're kind of generic. They follow the same model all the time, blah, blah, blah. A lot of them are good. They're not great. Yes, if that is your opinion, that is your opinion. You gotta look at, though, the masses. You gotta look at, though, the track record. You gotta look at the trajectory of growth, enthusiasm, excitement, anticipation, yada, yada, yada. What Kevin Feige has helped shepherd, what he has led, is pretty great. I think the thing of why this specific piece of news was making the rounds is because, well, he's Zack Snyder's Batman.
And I mean, while he has praised Zack Snyder, I mean, this is a whole other level of praise.
This is a whole other one.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder what Zack Snyder must think reading this stuff and whether or not, I mean, like, the possibilities have opened up so wide, and even though we opened up with the joke about, like, bringing Ben Affleck's Daredevil back, like, the possibilities have become so endless now that I almost wonder if he would be thrilled to do that.
I have not seen the director's cut of Daredevil, but I've heard great things about it. I'm obviously on the side of, look, when Daredevil comes back, I want it to be Charlie Cox. There are rumors going around that he has wrapped filming on Spider-Man 3 already. That being said, my mind did have me going through a couple of things when I heard about this. Zack Snyder recently said that if there was an MCU character he'd want to adapt or bring to life, it would actually be Daredevil. And thinking about it, I'm like, well, if there's one character I think Zack Snyder could actually pull off within the MCU, I think it would be Daredevil. Daredevil would be the one with all the Catholic backdrop imagery, the darkness,
the anguish,
the visuals, the violence. I'm like, yeah, Zack Snyder actually would be a cool pick. Everyone who has seen the director's cut of Daredevil is like, actually, Ben Affleck's pretty good in that one. So if there was some type of alternate universe thingamajig that were to occur of Snyder and Ben Affleck reteaming for a Marvel property, like to do Daredevil, that'd be pretty neat.
Yeah.
I don't think Feige would ever do that. I don't think it would ever go down that path. But in terms of fan fiction wish fulfillment, that's something where my mind did go. Immediately, a lot of people do start jumping onto the train. And I can't lie, my mind kind of went there too. Like, I think he is just praising him. I don't think this is Ben Affleck throwing shade at DC. I don't think that's at all what it is. But if you want to compare the producing department, how many times have they shifted who the head is of the DC universe within a few years?
And the direction of the universe within in the films and everything else.
And I did hear something about how I think Ben Affleck couldn't find it before filming this video, but Ben Affleck talking about how they did want to talk with Feige when it came time to making Daredevil to look for some solutions, because Ben Affleck has dismissed that Daredevil movie as not being a good film. But what he's talking about here, with knowing what the audience wants, the heartstrings, the humor, when to make it serious and when not to, I think majority of the time, Kevin Feige is right on the money when it comes to all these things. I would say I would absolutely agree with these opinions of the greatest working producer today of my lifetime would have to be Kevin Feige. And I think he will go down in history as one of the greatest movie producers, regardless of what your personal opinion is about the MCU or not. I think the track record and the numbers speak for themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, the MCU is the arguably newest, most innovative, at least format change.
It's a revolutionary franchise.
That we have experienced in our lifetime. And yeah, he is largely responsible for at least a lot of that guidance. And two, I mean, looking across those films, even though there are missteps and things like that, he's shown himself clearly capable of recognizing what may have gone not the proper direction or in a direction that didn't quite please the fans and adjusting for that stuff. Whereas, you know, DC seems to be, or you know, Warner Brothers at large seems to be very focused in on, oh God, what do the fans want? Let's just give them whatever they're yelling at us about right now. And yeah, like it is an impressive amount of poise Kevin Feige has been able to cultivate, and I can see why anybody would come out and just express admiration.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in some shape or form, because Ben Affleck has had a rough luck when it comes to playing superheroes, man. He got cast as Daredevil. Stan Lee, I remember the promotional time when he was cast, Stan Lee being like, when Ben Affleck was cast, that was who I imagined Matt Murdock to look like, was Ben Affleck. That didn't turn out so well. He gets cast as Batman. He gets all the backlash, and then bam, he comes out in BVS, and everyone's like, who's the best part of Batman v Superman? And you see how many people are championing him for him to continue on as Batman in some way. Like, he's gonna be in the Flashpoint movie, but maybe continue on with some Snyder films or some series within the HBO Max world. Yeah. I think, though, Ben Affleck's making it pretty clear he'd love to work with Kevin Feige.
Anything you got, buddy? I know you got people on TV. You just signed Ethan Hawke to something. Bring me in, man.
Kevin Feige's working on that Star Wars movie. Maybe he can get inside of a Star Wars film or something like that. Either way, I mean, I'd just be happy for the guy. Ben Affleck's become this personality that I'm constantly rooting for.
I just hear
such an up and down personal life.
I see him, I'm just like, I hope he's having a good day.
It's so up and down with this. Everything is like, he's an interesting celebrity to follow. I want him to just have that one thing that is just solid and concrete, man. He needs it. Or maybe he's opting to direct an MCU film or something.
Hey, that could be cool.
That'd be cool to see Ben Affleck hop into that.
Hey man, get Jennifer Garner out here praising Kevin Feige. They can bring Elektra back and Ben can direct that.
Well, guys, do you agree with Ben Affleck? Do you think he had an agenda here with trying to get himself involved directly with working with the greatest producer of all time? Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe, click that notification bell, hit that like button. Catch you guys soon.